All right, folks, welcome to Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. This is another recording, so if you guys see the chat going on, our guest this week, Elvis Lainez, won't be able to see any of the questions being asked for this week, but want to try a different venue, different recording, stuff like that, and let's just go ahead and so Brad's not on here either because this is kind of a last second deal, but we're just getting some material on there. So thank you for all the likes and all the follows and stuff like that on iTunes and Spotify, and also all the on Facebook and YouTube. The Ryan Anderson episode that we did was off the hook. A lot of people looked at it, watched it, enjoyed it. So thank you for everyone that's did that. And we're still continuing on with the Monster Jam ordeal. But also want to thank JB Scale Graphics. If you have a chance to take a look at his products, officially licensed by High Octane Coffee, Obsessed, Against the Grain, Bigfoot, and many more. They also do flags for your RC trucks too. J Concepts, once again, take a look at their stuff. Bigfoot, Samson, USA 1, officially licensed. New bodies come out every few months. If you want, and the regulator, go check a look at that stuff. If you want an old school monster truck, go build yourself one of those. Clod based RC truck, go get those. Also want to thank MTRC. Colby Marshall does our intro video. Take a look at that stuff. We'll be bringing that up here in a little bit. Once again, he has videos up on YouTube. Like him on Facebook, Instagram. Check him out. Pretty cool stuff. Justin Stories. He has a digital copy of his he has his book, Making Tracks, on Amazon.com. I believe it's $10 a person or $10 a book. I'm screwing that up. I'm sorry, guys. He also has this monthly subscription for $5.49. It's called Sheer Nova Comics. You can go Sheer Nova, so it's SEERNOVA comics.com. You can sign up and join, but it's like a digital subscription that you can do on your iPad or on your phone and stuff like that. Go check that out too. 6B Apparel, these hoodies and our crew shirts, $100 a pop. Message me or Brad. We'll get that going over you. We order them through Chris from 6B. Chris sends them over to you guys. So hopefully a couple people order. Hopefully transfers over and goes there. But thank you for the support and stuff like that for it too. A lot of intros going on. This week when this episode comes about, we will be heading to Toledo, Ohio. I think, for a Monster Jam event, 5-show day there. So we'll be excited about that. But outside of that, we're going to be playing our few commercials and then our intro, and then we'll have Elvis Lainez on for this week's episode. So here we go.
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
Man, what's going on, man? How's it going, Elvis?
It's going, man. Just here, day off, getting ready for work, but really excited for this, man. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Hey, no problem. I knew you way back, and it's pretty cool seeing how everything's going on, with the monster truck world and Monster Jam in general. Uh, let's start back. We always do a little timeline questionnaire type deal. So, uh, l- let's start off. You've always been a fan. Or if you remember the first show you've been to, and just work your way to where you're at, get a chance to, uh, you know, get into wrenching them actually.
Yeah, man. So my first show was actually in the Astrodome. It was in 2001. And Houston typically ended up being one of the first stops, traditionally always for USHRA, whether it was TNN. Just recall this event very vividly because the one moment that I only remember about this event was when Tom Entz actually planted the truck vertically on a bus stack. And, just hearing all the fans go crazy was so awesome. And my parents have a video of me that I'm still trying to find because I do remember watching this video not too long ago, and just hearing all that, and you can see the excitement on my face. And just from that moment on, I basically knew I was hooked. But then there was a kind of a little bit of a hiatus where I didn't attend any events because my parents they were working people, so we were really only able to go when my parents could afford it. And it was really until I was about five that I could, always kind of request that as my Christmas gift because, like I said, Monster Jam would always come to town, typically within the first few weeks of January. So that was kind of all I really cared about, and all I really looked forward to for most of my, my fall time and Christmas gift. Like that's really all I ever wanted. And so for most of my life, from five to 18 years old, I was going to shows in Houston, and I would never really miss a show. Typically, I recall the only show I ever missed was, I believe it was in January, the first show that they had of January in 2009, when Escalade made its debut there. And that was one of those shows where I believe it was Nathan Wink that was driving Iron Outlaw One Racing, and they had like the two different lane pads for racing, and that's kind of one of those shows that I wish I would have been able to go see, but I like I said, my parents at the time just couldn't afford it, so we didn't make it. But man, it's been a love that I've had for my whole childhood and my whole life. And just like you said, I at some point started like helping out on these trucks. I was really interested in them. I knew I wanted to do something with them, whether it was to drive, um, you know, be around as a technician, or just do anything I possibly could, to go out there and be a part of this industry. And I had actually Facebook messaged Morgan Kane out of the blue, just asking him like, "Hey man, I know right now you're driving Max D. I see you guys are coming to town here in about 2 weeks. Just curious to see if there's anything I can do to come out, help out. I'm just trying to learn, man. I really want to get involved in the sport. I really want to do something with it." And I had, like I said, I was a huge fan. So this is kind of around the time where drivers like Dustin Brown, Mark McDonald, these people that had worked around the sport as anything else but a driver were getting shots. And so I remember watching an interview about Mark McDonald and how he got his start, and he basically said, I got started because I was a technician, and I knew these trucks in and out. And so that kind of stuck to me. And I wanted to make sure that if I ever came into the sport as a driver, I knew these trucks mechanically. Um, and so, that Facebook message turned into the biggest opportunity of my life, and it opened the gates for everything that, led to that. Because after that, I had my first event, helping out Morgan, BJ, whenever BJ was driving Mohawk Warrior. And then their crew guy was Josh Dyke, which, many know as Tom Mentz crew guy. crew chief for, many years, and George Palatino was also part of that crew. And man, that was awesome. It was honestly the greatest crew I could have possibly have ever helped out because, they all branched out in so many different ways that it made a path for me to kind of, get my name out there and be able to help out more and more teams. Like, I was, anytime that the Paxton crew ever came around Houston, I was always helping them. I even helped out Sean Powers at some point. I was basically that kid that was just running around the pits, before and after the shows, trying to help out as many people as I possibly could, whether it was tire down, pick up a body or anything, man. And I remember when I was 17 years old, one of my good friends, Jackson Suits, was actually, crewing for Neil, and something had happened with him. He got sick. And, I kind of, like I said, I'd been around this crew for so long that I was like, hey, man, like, this is also whenever the two show weekend started. So Neil had rolled over Saturday night. So we had to put the spikes back on the body and have it ready for pit party the next morning. And Jackson was a little bit under the weather, man. And I was like, hey, man, just go. I got it. Like, I'll take care of the spikes and take care of the body. And I was there till like 2 a.m., helping out. Because this is something that I always wanted to do. And then went to World Finals 2017, got the chance to talk with, a lot of people that are very high up within the company and kind of just tell them my story. And luckily, I got the opportunity of a lifetime 2 weeks before I graduated high school, got the chance to go to Moss Jam University. And, honestly, I didn't think I was going to get a call back because my first time ever at Moss Jam University was very nerve-wracking for me. I kind of came into it with no sort of like recreational motorsport experience. My parents, never put me like in a racing team. All I ever played in sports was, soccer, football, basketball, things of that nature, that didn't require, so much funds. And so I kind of, went into it blindly and, being taught by, one of the persons that you've looked up to your whole life was even more nerve wracking because I felt like I had something to prove. And, going in with that mindset in hindsight, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But, at the end of the day, I don't really regret it because, like I said, I've had a passion for this sport my whole life. And I think that I'd rather have a passion for it and go out there and screw up like that than go out there and not know anything about the sport and still get a seat, So I'm very fortunate for everything that's happened. And, after 2 years as being as a backup, I finally got my opportunity. And I've taken advantage of that ever since, man. And I'm really grateful for it. Every time I get on the mic, whether, it's a winning interview or just a pit party interview, I make sure to tell everyone, like it doesn't matter where you come from, what languages you speak, what you look like. If you really want to do it, you can. I believe in the American dream. That's the reason why my parents moved here. So me and my sister could pursue that dream, and I'm taking advantage of it, man. So I'm really grateful for it.
You go up to, like you said, in Paxton, you get your first shot, but it's more than just, I believe, what a one time. If you do the process of Monster Jam University,
Mhm.
you have more than just one. After your first shot, I think you get back there what 2 or 3 other times, learning techniques and
Yep.
uh, learning the truck itself because you're driving without the body most of the time. And then a lot of times, if people may not know what the university is, it's split into two. You got the big track, or AKA Tom's test facility, which he does his tricks and stuff like that. And then you have the smaller arena that a lot of the students try to master. And the process of what's going on is just more than just driving too. They do a lot of interviews, etc., just to prepare yourself for a monster truck or a monster jam event, correct?
Correct. I my first year, it was only me and Colette Davis that came out of that class out of 2017 going in 2018 because she got her start with El Toro Loco that fall. And then she went on to drive Wonder Woman that next first quarter. Um, and yeah, exactly like you said it, it's a definitely a multiple training kind of process. I think it varies from people to people really, depending on like who they want or who they know they want. Like I know for myself, my first year I probably went about, I had my first audition and then about two extra times where it was just, training. And then I went to what we call the workshop. And that's basically where, um, at the time we were still doing triple threats. So we were basically learning how to ride the ATVs and drive the speedsters and, also do, drive the monster trucks. And so the workshop is essentially, a Rosemont. It's basically what it's notorious for everyone that's brand new, whether it's technicians, crew, like I said, crew guys, tech officials, AV people, event managers, stuff like that, and even drivers. So basically, everyone's kind of going in there with the goal to just learn and get used to what we call the show flow. And just knowing that these events live, there's no such thing as hey, give me about 2 hours to fix this because you probably got maybe 20 to 30 minutes at most in between events to kind of get these trucks repaired or just kind of really take care of anything. Like it's pretty crazy because during the workshop, you really realize that the training that you've had prior to that workshop is out the window because the only thing that you're going to get out of that training is essentially, your driver training and for you as a driver to go out there and do what you got to do and execute. But live entertainment in itself, man, it's a different beast. Things happen, out of the blue. We experience it from event to event every weekend. As I'm, sure as a crew guy, you check a truck on Friday, afternoon for practice, everything's good, and then something happens during practice, and now you're down to the wire before intros that Friday night. Just kind of thinking to yourself, like, what could possibly go wrong with this thing before practice? And boom, something happens. That's just monster trucks, man. But it is definitely a multiple step process as far as the MJU training goes. And I know my second year when I went again as a backup, it was I definitely had more opportunities to go out and practice, which was cool. I was very grateful for it. But that year was the year of Justin Hicks, Joe Uri, and someone else. And I don't know what happened, but basically, I got my opportunity that winter, a few weeks before first quarter, is when I got the call saying, like, hey, man, something happened, and you're going to be driving El Toro Loco now on this tour. So congratulations. And that was it was awesome to hear, but it was scary at the same time because, like I said, I came into the sport with zero motorsports experience. I really didn't know how tough it'd be, to drive these things. I know there's people out there, and I promise you as a fan, I've caught myself kind of like saying, like, how hard can it possibly be? And, it's very hard, especially in these tight arenas, man. Like what we're doing with these machines now, it's insane. And it's things that nobody, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even would have thought that, we'd be doing in these arenas. But we're doing it, and we're only, trying to do crazier things and innovate more things to keep our fans and, this sport relevant and get to the status of something like the NFL, NBA, etc. And it's awesome to be a part of that, man. And that's why I take so much pride in my driving. And this year I've caught myself being very frustrated, man, because I've just had some really bad luck with the truck. And, I get it. That's how it goes. But, I want to go out there and I want to put on, a show and go out there and give fans something to remember. Like I said, I have a lot of passion for what I do because I'm very passionate about this, man. Like this was and is my life. It's been my life ever since I was 5 years old. So to now get that opportunity to be the one driving and entertaining the fans and that person that's never been to a monster truck event or has a negative connotation of it or doesn't find it that interesting, I want to go out there and prove them wrong and show them like, hey man, this is awesome. And when I can provide those wow moments, man, and come out of that truck and just hear all the fans cheering and getting crazy and getting loud and just hearing like, man, El Toro Loco was my favorite, or Monster Jam was awesome. Everybody, had a great night. That's what matters to me, man. I don't care about winning. All I care about is going out there and making sure that I make new fans for this industry, and that I give a memory to someone, because as a kid, that's what I loved, man. Like I loved going to shows and seeing the crazy moments, and that's why drivers like Dennis and Tom are who they are in the sport, because it's like of all the crazy moments that they've delivered throughout their years. And you know it's nobody ever thinks about how many championships they won. They always think about the highlights of their career, like the crazy cool moments, crazy cool crashes. Like that's at the end of the day, man, what's relevant and what keeps this motorsport going, and keeps these fans intrigued. They come to see what else we can do that's absolutely out of this world that they've never seen. And it's an honor to be a part of that, man, and I hope I can be a part of it for a long time.
So I actually gotta pick your brain here for a second. And when you were talking about the transition, you went to Monster Jam University, and then you got your chance to get your chance now to be in the seat of El Toro Loco. Then later down the line with Mohawk Warrior. When you're at Monster Jam University, they don't put the body on the truck quite yet. You're still in a
Yeah.
cabless truck in general.
Yep.
Now, when you have that situation though, and you're at your first show, now you have vision points that did you try to mentally prepare yourself to because now you have a cab on your truck, on the chassis itself, and
Yep.
now you have blind spots inside the cab. So when you had your first show inside the arena, how did you get yourself mentally prepared for the visualization of the truck between like El Toro and Mohawk Warrior? Because now you have different blind spots visually driving the truck.
The crazy thing about it is that my first year, now that I really think about it, now that you asked this question, my vision with the El Toro body wasn't as bad. And I think it was because I had a riser that year. And I'm not sure if it's because the in cab, like the chassis itself, had a little bit more room and a little bit more height for me to get a riser in there. But, like you said, in MJU, we don't have, spare Toro Loco bodies that we can just throw on and kind of get, mimic that sort of situation and scenario for us. And so for me, my first year was kind of being thrown into the wolves, but it was awesome, man. It was cool. It was honestly the best group I could have possibly been a part of. I had amazing drivers on my tour. We had Tyler Menninga, Colton Eichelberger, Barry Musauer, Tony Oaks, Miranda, Austin Minton, and that's just it was, man, one of the best tours I've ever been a part of. And I learned so much, man. Going into your first year, there's so much adrenaline and stuff going, and I had that going too. But I had such a stacked lineup against me that all I really wanted to do was go out there and try to compete, but most importantly learn, man. And I think I did that. Like I said, a lot of talent on that tour, so that was really awesome. And thankfully, they were able to kind of like help me with my driving and pinpoint me. And the coolest thing about it, man, is that yeah, it's a competition, but we're all motivating each other at the end of the day. We're all trying to push each other because we all love this sport. We all want to make sure that the fans, get a great show at the end of the day, and that they leave home happy, and that they leave with a memory that they have something to talk about at dinner and, take to the school and talk about, what they did this weekend and things like that. But now, this past 2020 and 20 or this year, I'm noticing that with my cab, it's a little bit smaller, and because I'm not able to fit a riser now in my cab for this body, I we do it because of safety issues. We have a rule where we're supposed to have at least a fist worth of space between our helmet and the roll bar. Because of rollovers, and that's just what Monster Jam does to protect us, the drivers, in scenarios that you just never know how these things are going to roll, and we're just trying to take things on the safe side. But with that, it comes a little bit of sacrifices vision wise for me, man. Like this year, it's a little bit hard to see out of it, but I'm trying to do my best with it. It's very hard, man, because we're in really tight arenas, and especially in arenas where we have the hockey dashers. As you know, it's very tight in there, and we only have limited room, compared to a stadium, to really make a decision on whether you stay on the throttle, or you let off, or you turn a little bit more into your turn or not. And it's just decisions like that really kind of make or break how your event goes for you. I'm trying to get acclimated back to that. With the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior as an Escalade body, I could see everything out of that body. Well, and I think that's why I really excelled, last year with that truck, and kind of why I had more of like a breakout year where people could kind of see what I could bring to the table as far as my driving, and I just felt like I was kind of due for something like that, as far as like, when I got that call to represent and come on as the second Great Clips Mohawk Warrior driver, I, told myself, like, all right, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, man. Like, I have to go out there, represent, and most importantly, I have to show everyone, like, I'm not here to, I'm not just any driver. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to try to win as much as possible. And, at the end of the day, man, I want to come out there and entertain these people and give them something that they, can think of for many years to come. I also wanted to kind of get my name and into the talks up there, because I felt like my first 2 years I was a little bit under the radar. That's just how it goes at first. Just you have to earn your spot, as a driver in there. And after my year with the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, man, I felt like I had a lot of wins, a lot of success, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. And I think I took it, the utmost advantage I could of it, and I'm very grateful for that, man. It was awesome.
And like you said, you took advantage of that opportunity. Plus, you took a chance also of driving a sponsored truck. Not a lot of the drivers in Monster Jam or Monster Trucks in general will be able to represent not just that truck Mohawk Warrior, representing a company like Grey Clips, which they have bunches of stores around the area. And now also, I'm gonna put you on the spot here because you've been on with the same tour as I am here with the Monster Jam Central Tour. You also represent the St. Jude's Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the times in the beginning portions of the program, they interview all the drivers, and you are the ambassador, one of the ambassadors of St. Jude's. And how is that meaningful for you also to be representing that organization and try to help fight a cause that's ongoing?
It's very humbling, man. Like when I got that call, to be an ambassador, it was really, really cool, because I don't think a lot of people get this opportunity, and just to simply get or be in the talks of being an ambassador for it was very humbling, and it meant a lot to me, man. So whenever they confirmed it and told me, like, hey, man, you're going to be the ambassador for the Central Tour, I was stoked, man, because at the end of the day, this is a business, and we cater to the kids, and this is a family business. We cater to families out there, and St. Jude's is a family organization. It's a nonprofit organization. They treat pediatric cancer, and the coolest thing about it, man, is that this isn't just an organization that treats pediatric cancer of people that are U.S. citizens. They take care of anyone from all over the world, and they actually do this by just taking donations, and they actually house the families in their facility in Memphis, Tennessee. So they, like, let's say there's a family somewhere in another country. What they'll do is they'll find them, and they'll fly them out here to Memphis, Tennessee, and they'll actually house the family. So that way there's a sense of a family for that child, because not only are they facing this terrible disease that no kid should ever have to deal with, but that way they know that they're at least within the comfort of their family being nearby. And it's very sad, honestly, to just know that there's kids out there that are going through something like this. And for me, I want to take this opportunity to be an ambassador, make the most of it, and really kind of connect with those families, and get an opportunity to kind of know a little bit more about them, because I think at the end of the day, we at some point we all kind of take our lives for granted, and the opportunities that we have, or the opportunity to wake up and get out of bed, and just be healthy, and not have to deal with anything that these kids are dealing with. To get to meet someone like that, and just look at them, and even though they're going through what they're going through, and this terrible disease, they're tougher than you are. They're going through something that not many people could deal with, and these families are just very strong, man. And it's super humbling to be an ambassador for them, and go out to different arenas, and promote them, and hopefully we're getting donations into them, because this organization literally runs on donations. So if there's no donations coming in, there at some point has to be some desperate measures taken. And I don't think right now we're not, there's no date for us to go, like all the ambassadors of us to go to St. Jude's, the facility. But I think that there's something planned for World Finals. And man, that's honestly what I'm looking forward to the most. Just hanging out with his families, and making a memory with them, and making a memory for them. Because these kids, man, at the end of the day, all they want is to be kids. Like all they want to do is just go out there, into a playground and play with their friends, and be on the iPad, and go to school and learn things like that. They don't want to be going through what they're going through. And so whatever we got going on in World Finals for them, man, that's going to be the highlight of my weekend, and that's going to be the highlight of my year, honestly, because at the end of the day, yes, I'm a driver, but I'm also a human, man, and I'm very compassionate. I'm very I love making memories with other families, and to me, at the end of the day, that's what this job is about. And as a fan, this is where I also think, I'm very grateful for that background of coming into this as a fan. I made a lot of key moments and key highlights kind of for my childhood with drivers, at pit parties, and, whether it was something as simple as, Tom taking a picture with me and like pretending to choke me, that's something that I always look back upon, and, I get a smile out of it, man. It's those small things that, drivers did for me back in my day. I want to do that for these kids and for these families. And, whenever they think of Moss Jam, hopefully they think of the memory that they had with me, or, at an event where I was at, man. That's honestly the biggest goal for me within this job.
And also what I'm gonna do too, which when we do these posts on these upcoming events, I will also put the donation information for St. Jude's, so you guys can get the information there too. Also, I believe in they do a little a thing, I believe, Elvis, where if you do donate, you get a shirt or something like that nature. But it's more important than that. So we'll get more information and stuff for you when we do the post prior to the event. Speaking about events, when this episode comes out, we'll be already kind of past your hometown show. You're from Houston, but Austin, Texas. The week of, I think, well, be last week.
Yeah.
You know, how is it for you to know that you'll be racing somewhere close to home? Family will be there. Hopefully, no, knock on wood. Kurt was at Rosemont, had a little bit of some good luck there. But now this is your turn. A lot of drivers, Tony in Pittsburgh, Kurt in Chicago. Now you're going to be kind of close to home in Houston to Austin. Man, how is it going to be the drive, in the great state of Texas?
Man, it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited. I wish the arena was a little bit bigger floor space wise, but regardless, man, I'm going to try to go out there and give my family and the fans there in Austin a really good event. I want to come out and make a name for myself there. I really wish and I hope that at some point I can drive into Houston at the NRG Stadium, because that's my World Finals. That's where I went to shows as a kid, and that's where I want to go perform one day, and that's where it's full circle for me, man, for sure. But getting somewhere that's 2 hours away like Austin, it's awesome. And just like you said, I have a lot of family coming out, a lot of friends coming out, so I'm really excited about it. And hopefully we have a good weekend, man. We had a little bit of a rough ending there in Rosemont, but I'd rather it happen there than in Austin. So I hope that and I know that we're going to be at 110% in Austin, and all I got to go out there is execute. And at some point I was within 6 to 7 points away from that first spot and taking away from Kristen. She's been in the number one spot this whole tour. So I'm like 24 points down now. So I have some points to make back up, and I'll gladly make them up in my home state. So that's gonna be awesome.
We could talk about this season, because from the start you basically, if there was a race, I guess, in mentally of week one, you'd even have a chance to start. Some gremlins came over at Baltimore that took advantage of the truck itself, so everyone pretty much had a head start on you. But your season this year is kind of a little bit of a roller coaster, you may say, because you had your a lot of highs, and you start off with the low, but you've been momentum to a point where like you said, now coming into Austin, which, like I said, this episode, points can change. You're only 24 points back. That also can tell how you are as a driver, because taking that big of a gap and then shrinking it to 24 points has to mentally be an awesome victory for yourself and the crew, with Mark, Lauren, all those guys, John, for helping putting this truck, and the other teams too, John and Ken Doug, all these guys coming together. But talk about this season right now, because right now, I mean, like you said, you're 24 points back. We're past the halfway point, and we have a bunch of big shows coming up too. Also, two back-to-back 5-show weekends in Grand Rapids and Toledo. So a lot of stuff can mix. The points can go big, points can change. There's a lot of points going on here for a chance to be in the World Finals. But let's talk about your season this year.
Yeah, man. It's like exactly like you've said it, man. It's been a roller coaster. This same chassis that I had was the exact same chassis I finished the year with last year with the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior team in Grand Rapids. Everything was perfect with this truck, man. We won 4 out of the 5 overalls there. Didn't break anything, like literally no damage for that weekend. And we get to Baltimore. I'm really excited. I'm pumped up. I'm feeling confident and fire up. and we go out for intros, and I step on the throttle, and the minute that I, make it past that kind of weird tunnel they have there, the little 90 degree, and I get on the straightaway and hammer it, truck dies. And I was like, well, that's weird. So fire back up and go out for racing after, for the first round of practice, because we had 2 practice shows that Thursday, and it just kept happening. Went out for 2 wheels, tried a nose wheelie, and got it vertical, and was trying to walk it, and the truck died on me. And the truck just couldn't stay on anytime that I'd give it any sort of throttle. And we were, just like you said, the crew guys didn't know what was going on. They were trying their hardest to just get the truck back out there, and it was frustrating for me as a driver because no one knew what was going on, and it was very frustrating for the crew guys as well because Ken was in my trailer when we were in Grand Rapids, and so was Mark, and they're all like, this truck was perfectly fine in Grand Rapids, nothing was wrong with it, and now it's given us so much trouble. And I think at some point they literally had Dustin Brown, Sean Powers, everybody within the higher ups kind of involved, and just keeping them in the loop. And so we missed the first show and the second event in Baltimore. And I think out of those 2 events, I only got 4 points, 2 for each first round race, because it's head-to-head racing, even though I didn't get to make it out for not even intros. So I was already like at a 60-point deficit going into that third event that weekend. And when we finally got the truck running, and once that truck started running, I was on a mission, man. That first event that I really got to compete, I believe I tied for first with John Zimmer Jr., who won that overall that Saturday night. And that was just relieving, man. Like I was very frustrated, and because there was so many fans that I had met that Saturday afternoon that were just really excited to see the truck, and for me to just go out there and the truck just wasn't staying on. I felt like I let them down then, and my techs and my crew guys felt the same way, and it was very frustrating for all of us. And that third event, when it finally got running, I just felt like I had to give it my all and come back and prove to myself that I still have it. That the Great Clips year I had wasn't a fluke, and that I can compete. And we've had some weird stuff going out this year, but we've had like you said, a lot of highs. And right now this tour, I think between the top 4, we're all literally 8 points away. I think Tony's 8 points away from Kristen, Blake's 8 points away from Tony, and I'm 8 points away from Blake. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see that competition, and we love it. I'm not scared of competition. That's all I've done my whole life, playing sports. And I think this year, more than anything, my passion for the sport is coming out, man. Like in Rosemont, I was a little bit frustrated because I was having really good luck there, and I was doing really well. And just that Sunday night, that 5th event, go out for racing against Zach, who's an amazing racer, and something happened with my rear steer, and it locked and flipped over first turn of racing, and they get that fixed, and then go off for 2 wheels, and my transmission gives up. So I don't even get a good score for that. And then they switch out the transmission, and we're getting ready for freestyle. And it's my turn, and I'm about to go out the tent, and the rear, I feel as I'm trying to come out of the tent that rear steer is not straight. And I caught that, and I was like, hey guys, something's not right with the rear steer, check it out. And they were checking it, last truck goes out, and they just didn't have enough time to get it fixed. And I'm still not even sure what exactly it was. I haven't gotten the text from my crew guy, for Mark. But it's just small things like that, man, that have been my worst enemy this year. Um, and to be 24 points away from that number one spot, and at some point 6-7 points away, with a 60-point deficit that I started with this year, it's been awesome, man. But I'm not happy with that. I want to be first. I'm a competitor at heart, and I'm very passionate about the sport, and um, I'm ready to get to Austin and make some points up, and I want to race one of the top four. I think that's my best bet to climb back up. I know right now they have us racing. Um, Anybody, company trucks are not racing each other right now, so I'm ready for them to switch that. Because I want to race Tony, I want to race Blake, I want to race Kristen first round. I want that competition, and I'm ready for it, man. So I hope that they're ready for Austin, and after that we go to Toledo and Grand Rapids and a lot of these areas where we're doing timed racing, and that's one of the competitions where I feel is one of my strongest points. So hopefully I can make it back up there, man. And I'm really fortunate for this experience and this opportunity to get to represent the Latinos and at some point get to represent Great Clips. So it's been awesome, man. But I want to make my way to World Finals. I want to get that shot and that opportunity to compete out there in Orlando this year. Um, I just want to go out there once and compete with the big dogs and see where I stack up against them.
We always ask around here too about, outside of the monster truck world, is there any hobbies that you follow? Or I know you're a huge Houston sports fan. So outside of monster trucks, so yeah, what's about your hobbies?
So um, I'm very big into sports. I love basketball. I love soccer. Love football. Um, and I'm a huge Denver Broncos fan. And I also really love to work out, man. And that's the thing too, that with these trucks, many don't believe it, but I personally feel from my experiences that working out has made me be able to endure a lot of kind of the nastier hits that I've had, and a lot of the bigger hits that probably wouldn't feel as good, I think, on my body if I didn't work out or wasn't active. And it's I like to take care of my body, man. I at some point sprained my MCL during high school football, and that wasn't an experience that was pleasing at all. It was very terrible, actually, and that was only with the sprained MCL. So I can't even imagine what like a torn MCL feels like, or ACL. I couldn't even put any weight on my knee for the longest of times. I want to say it was easily about 8 months to 10 months that it took me to fully be able to put 100%, or if not like 90% of pressure on my foot, and you know not have a little bit of a sting to it, where it kind of reminded me of what it was like at first when I got hurt. But taking care of my body, man, is something I'm very big about, because we only get one body. So I want to last as long as possible. And it's at the end of the day, your body's like your car. If you don't take care of your car and you don't do your oil changes, you don't do the right maintenance on it on time, it's not going to last you very long. And that's just my opinion on how the body works. And I like that, man. It keeps me busy, keeps me active, and uh, I'm very passionate about a lot of things, but I definitely say sports and fitness are my two favorite things, man. And outside of that, when I'm not driving monster trucks right now, I'm an arborist, so we're doing like tree trimmings and stuff like that out here around Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. So just keeping myself busy, man. Just trying to find things to do. I'm also, turned into a little bit of an entrepreneur after COVID. Was reselling, PS5s, Xboxes, reselling pools, things like that, man. Just trying to find different ways to make money. And one thing at the end of the day that that kind of taught me in COVID is that this job within, a snap of a finger is gone. And it's scary. It's scary to think that, I had that mindset that, I'm going to be okay with just this one job. And I think a lot of us thought that way, whether it was, you working in live entertainment, or, you had your one job that, paid you well. But COVID opened up my eyes, man, and just, made me realize that I need to have multiple sources of income. Because, if something happens with, one job, I at least have these other sources, kind of to rely on. And that's something I'm very big about too. So that's, I'm always willing to learn, and always willing to find things that keep me busy, and, keep making me money, man. So that's how I operate.
Man, that is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I've been back in the beginning of the year. I've been starting back in the fitness side of it, so I've been trying to get that going on. It's testaments mentally
Yeah.
and physically a big test, but we're trying. Is there any social media people can follow you at?
Yeah, man. So my Instagram handle is elvis.rl. And that's really the only one I really use publicly right now at the moment. But yeah, man, it's awesome to see you. I'm seeing, your Snapchats and your, Instagram posts of you posting at the gym. And it's awesome to see that, because I know, speaking for myself, that when I kind of had a hiatus from the fitness life, I was very moody, grouchy, and just didn't feel really, honestly, great about myself. And just, you kind of just sit there one night, when you're just laying in bed, and you just realize, like, man, I really need to start working out, and just, take away, that mental stress, and just that physical stress out on something, man. And it's crazy that the power that, weightlifting, or just even doing cardio, has on you, man. And it's awesome. It's a form of self-care. And I can tell you for myself, this past, I want to say, 2 years, I've kind of gotten really serious about my fitness, and I'm trying to always kind of grow it, as far as like bulking wise, and trying to, set personal records for myself as far as like weight lifts go. And I've been doing really good, man. And it's awesome, because it gives you also a different form of confidence within yourself. Because I think at the end of the day, the fitness, weightlifting side of things, it's really great for your body, but it's even better for your mental state, because it gives you a much, better confidence about you and your body, and what you how you publicly are seen by others. At the end of the day, it's very important to realize that, your image out there, when you introduce yourself to somebody, they don't know what your personality is like. They don't know who you are as a person. The first thing they see is your looks, and they see you from the outside. And so it's very it's awesome to see, many people out there that are taking their health into consideration, and working out, man, because it's something small, like, just going to the gym for 1 hour, that could honestly change your life and your confidence, man. And I've seen a lot of people. I know for me, myself, my confidence ever since I've started working out, and just kind of how I feel, day to day, I'm more energized. I just feel, really good, as my life goes on. And, I don't want to be that person that, when I'm like 35, I'm like, dude, my joints are killing me right now. I want to be an active, person. And most importantly, man, I always think about my future and my family, and at some point I want to be a dad, man. So I want to be there for my kids. I want to be that active dad. I want to go to their games. I want to play with them, coach them, things like that, man. So that's kind of what keeps me going.
Man, that's awesome, man. It's great to talk to you. It was a good interview, and I think I made my key points, but it's awesome. Thank you for being on.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And, for anyone watching, I just want to take a moment to realize, tell you guys that, like I said at the beginning of this interview, man, anytime I get on the mic, and anytime I'm anywhere, near a camera or a microphone, I always tell everyone, like, Doesn't matter where you come from, where your family's, what your family's been through, what your background is, man. If you want to do something in life, go out there, do it. Don't let nobody tell you no. I know for myself, when I wanted to get into this sport, there were a lot of things I kind of had to overcome. And once I got in, man, I know there were some people, that were like, seriously, this kid, didn't kind of, didn't work his way up. And I had no control of that. That's just, the cards I was dealt with, and I got lucky. And, you're going to face a lot of, there's going to be it's not going to be an easy road up. It's definitely an uphill battle, but no matter what you want to do, man, just stick to it, never give up. And I promise you someday, whether it's in 5 years, a year, 10 years, 20 years, you'll get there, man. Just stay consistent, never give up. And just remember at the end of the day why you're doing it. And if you're truly passionate about something, I promise you, you're never going to give up until you get there.
Right on, right on. Don't be discouraged. Always keep on pushing.
Absolutely.
And before I end this podcast, once again, what Brad always says, check up on your friends with the mental, stuff like that. I get, go check up on them, give them a call, see how they're doing and everything like that. Go check up on them like Brad always does. But man, once again, Elvis, thank you for coming on here. The guest next week, hopefully, would be Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher. So we'll shoot that in and go from there. But once again, like Brad always says, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. I'm questioning that. It is what it is.
I question that myself. So I roll over a lot. So
man, once again, yeah, like he says, rubber side down, the shiny side up. Good night.